Start the show.
Hi, Cozy. Welcome to
Hi.
Yarn on the House.
Thank you. Hi, Veronica.
Thanks for being here with us and being our guest this week. Why don't you tell the viewers and the followers about what you're all about and what you do?
Well, I'm a full-time fiber artist, so I spend my time spinning hand spun, dyeing for spinners, and dyeing yarn and doing pattern design.
Right.
How I ended up here, I'm still not quite sure, but so I do a wide variety of things within the fiber arts community. I can't just stick to one thing because I don't think that I could do that full-time.
Yeah. So I just absolutely love your yarns and fibers that you offer. The colors are so pretty and they're rustic and they're just saturated. What's your favorite yarn or fiber or color that you offer? Tell us what some of your favorites are.
Oh,
I
I
know
certainly
they're like kids, right? You can't choose.
totally. I certainly don't have a favorite color, and the yarns are interesting because they're good for different things.
Uh-huh. That's
Like
true.
they're the base yarns that I use for the yarns that I dye are all from brown sheep.
Okay.
Which I find really exciting because they're a really great American corporation who uses mostly locally sourced wool from like 4 states that are around where they are.
Uh-huh.
And I really like the variety and the feel of their yarns. So I think that I go more for, rather than having a favorite, for having a bunch of variety in yarns.
Okay. I like that.
So, frankly, if I'm going to knit with something, I would like to knit with hand spun though.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So you spin a lot of your own yarn too,
I do.
and a lot of your patterns that you have work really well with hand spun as well as just regular manufactured yarn. So
Yeah.
why don't you talk about that a little bit and where the inspiration for that comes into play?
All right. Well, I would never have you usually buy spinning fiber in like 4 ounces, which
Okay.
never is going to give you enough to make
Enough to do
lower.
anything really. Yeah.
I mean, you can make hats or mitts or whatever, but so at some point I just was like, whatever, it's yarn. I'm mixing it with these other yarns, and just started mixing everything together, and I actually like it a lot better than even like half the time I like it a lot better than even just whole hand spun garments.
Okay.
Because it's so much more interesting to me to play with the different colors and to play with the different textures together.
Yeah.
So I spend a lot of time just like looking at yarns and being like, ooh, I'm gonna knit those two together.
Yeah. What came first for you? Spinning, knitting?
Knitting. I started knitting 8 years ago, I guess. And then I moved to Vancouver, British Columbia, and my local wool shop had spinning wheels in it, and I asked my friend Sarah if she wanted to take spinning classes with me, and she did. So we took spinning and dyeing classes.
Oh, that's
And
exciting.
so that's how I got into that. Yeah, it was really cool. I don't think it ever would have happened if I wasn't near that yarn shop, though.
That's
I never would have known it existed, probably.
raise the roof for the LYSs. So along with all the lovely yarns that you dye up and all the fibers that you offer and stuff, you also recently released the pattern ebook called Mix Knits.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the patterns in that ebook a little bit?
Sure. And that book focuses, as we were talking earlier, on mixing hand spun with commercial yarn.
Uh-huh.
I did quite a large variety of patterns, everything from like baby sweaters to accessories to kind of a lap blanket to my very first adult sweater pattern.
Oh,
So I
cool.
tend to be more of an accessory knitter or a
Yeah.
like that. So I guess the key to that ebook is you can buy all the patterns separately, but if you get the whole ebook, you get an essay on how to mix yarns together.
Oh, fun. So like a little
yeah.
tutorial or a little...
Yeah, definitely.
Good.
It's kind of talking about what colors you might want to consider that you might have never considered before and stuff like that.
Okay.
Because I tend to just like grab a bunch of colors and look at them all together and decide from that.
Yeah.
And the more unusual often is kind of more interesting to me, but...
Yeah, me too. I agree. I love pops of color, especially when I'm knitting. I wear a lot of grayscale colors, so it's nice to
Yeah.
get bold
Something
colors
there.
into something fun to knit with. So for budding new designers out there, what's your one piece of advice for them?
Oh my goodness. I came about designing so weirdly. I got a book deal randomly over Flickr when I hadn't ever written a pattern down before. So I don't know that I have much advice since I
Much
do it all
advice.
myself and publish it all myself. I've never actually been published, besides my original book that I put out.
Yeah.
I haven't published anywhere except by myself.
Yeah.
I would say do as much as you can on your own because that's the way that you get the most control over your work.
Okay. That's really good piece of advice.
Yeah, it was interesting working. My publisher was fine, and it was interesting working with them. And there were like all these interesting constraints that I didn't even know existed and stuff, you know. So it was fascinating, but I still wish that I would have had a little more control over things like the photos in the book, which were very nice, by the way. But you know, for the most part, if you're wearing a winter headband, you don't wear it like an Indian princess.
Oh.
You wear it over your papers. So you know, things like that. In which I was like, really? Did they think it was a good idea?
So the vision was a little different. So
Right.
when you do it all yourself, you get more control over that. That's true. It's very good.
Right. And you
Plus-
don't need much to do it all yourself. I use Word.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Like, people just want the patterns.
Yeah,
I mean,
they wanna be able
it's
to-
nice if it's prettier and cuter, and it would be nice if I had those skills, but I don't. So I just use Word. And it works.
And it works. Yeah. Well, if the patterns are good and they're well written, that's what matters the most. So
Exactly.
That's
People
good.
can follow them.
yeah. So what's next for you? Can you share any secrets with us? Do you have new designs or colorways under your
I do. This hat.
Okay, show us. Ooh,
Pattern is going to be the next
love
one that's
it.
coming out.
Oh,
current-
that's so good. Show
And
us
there'll be
the
some
crown.
matching mittens.
Bend your head down. Show us the crown. Oh yeah, that looks good.
There will be matching mittens for it.
Cool.
And so that's the next design that's coming up. That actually, I just randomly knit that for my brother-in-law for Christmas. So I was like, should write up that pattern.
It is. It's a good unisex pattern. I could definitely see a
exactly.
boy wearing that. So I like that.